in a world that's constantly pushing us to do more, to be on all the time. When was the last time you truly felt like your time was your own? Not just, non-work time, but genuinely free time. Today, we're taking a unique journey, sort of a deep dive into something we all crave, but often, undervalue: human free time. Imagine if this wasn't some kind of luxury, but actually a fundamental, evolutionarily ingrained need.
Yeah.
Indispensable for your well-being and even society's progress.
It's a really powerful idea, isn't it? Our mission today is to explore this groundbreaking AI-driven scientific study. It synthesizes just an astonishing amount of interdisciplinary data. We're talking biology, psychology, philosophy, economics, you name it. This deep dive reveals the profound, often hidden significance of leisure. We'll uncover how free time literally shapes your brain, your health, your relationships, and even your society.
Okay, so get ready to unpack why the way modern society often views leisure is, fundamentally misaligned with what humans truly need, which leads, as you might guess, to widespread stress and burnout. We're going to look at some surprising historical shifts, cross-cultural differences, and even how leisure impacts your genetic expression. Get this isn't just about relaxation, it's really about flourishing. So let's just jump right in.
Okay, so when an AI analyzes free time, it looks beyond just, the absence of work. It encompasses everything from recreation and entertainment to tourism and hobbies, all that stuff. But the truly crucial insight this analysis brought out is that the qualitative dimension of free time, like the experience and the intrinsic satisfaction you get from it, that's paramount, not just how much time you have off.
Right, the quality, not just the quantity.
Exactly. And this really challenges those traditional economic models that often view leisure as merely an opportunity cost, something you do instead of earning money.
That's a fascinating distinction. So how does an AI even begin to understand such a complex, deeply human concept? It's not just about crunching spreadsheets, is it? Oh no, it's far more sophisticated than that. The AI acts as a kind of meta-analyst. It synthesizes massive amounts of text, images, PDFs from incredibly diverse sources across all these different disciplines. Using natural language processing, or NLP, it can delve into digital text data like social media posts, for instance, to identify underlying behaviors, subtle thought patterns, linguistic signals, even the deeper motives, goals, and values people associate with leisure.
Wow, okay, so it's reading between the lines in a way.
Yeah, and it also leverages advanced computational models. These help to systematically understand and even nudge human behavior with precision. We call this choice engineering, basically designing options that make healthy leisure choices easier and more appealing.
So it's not just summarizing existing research, it's looking deeper, connecting dots humans might actually miss. Precisely. AI's unique role here is to identify these disciplinary silos, where human researchers sometimes get stuck in their own fields, and also the implicit assumptions and, frankly, cognitive biases within human research itself. By integrating findings, say, connecting our biological need for rest with ancient philosophical arguments for human flourishing, AI can reveal these systemic interdependencies and emergent properties that might be invisible to a human researcher focused on just one piece of the puzzle. It helps us see the whole interconnected picture.
That makes so much sense, right? And speaking of the full picture, let's turn to the historical tapestry of free time. Leisure in the form of enjoyable games and activities, it's been a consistent feature throughout human history, hasn't it? Right back to our earliest days as foragers and hunters.
Yeah, absolutely. And even alone time and solitary tasks were pretty normal back then, which kind of suggests an innate human need for individual focus. It feels like a stark contrast to our often crowded modern lives, doesn't it?
It really does.
A really pivotal shift, though, arrived with the agricultural revolution around 6500 BC. This era created the potential for leisure through food surpluses and a division of labor. But crucially, it also laid the groundwork for leisure's unequal distribution. That's key.
Okay, so the possibility was there, but not for everyone.
Exactly. Then you fast forward to ancient Greece. You have Aristotle philosophically articulating leisure as essential for character development, intellectual exploration. However, and this is a really significant point, it was exclusively a privilege for wealthy, educated male citizens.
So a grand philosophical ideal, but yeah, a very exclusive reality.
Yeah.
Then we hit the Industrial Revolution, which truly solidified our modern notion of leisure, right? Distinctly categorizing paid work and free time.
And you saw shifts in the U.S. between, say, 1894 and 1915. Working hours started decreasing. You got the introduction of Saturday half holidays, even unpaid vacations. Leisure started to democratize a bit, leading to the rise of mass entertainment like vaudeville, circuses, motion pictures.
But there's a twist, isn't there? Paradox.
But here's where it gets truly paradoxical and, quite interesting. Despite this expanded access, industrialization introduced a really rigid work ethic. It viewed free time instrumentally, primarily as just a means to recreate expended labor power.
So recharge the batteries just to go back to work.
Pretty much. It wasn't about intrinsic value. It was about recharging so you could be productive again. And this mindset fueled the leisure industry, which essentially commodified free time. And now we face concepts like the overestimation of work and compulsory organized freedom, where your free time isn't truly free. It feels dictated by external pressures.
That phrase, compulsory organized freedom, that really resonates. It makes you question how much of our leisure is genuinely chosen versus feeling like, I don't know, another item on the to-do list.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes my free time on the weekend feels more like a new set of obligations rather than true relaxation.
Exactly.
So how do these pressures and perspectives on leisure shift when we look at different cultures around the world? Because as you pointed out, leisure is profoundly culturally constructed and context-dependent, meaning there's probably no single universal definition or ideal.
It's absolutely vital to understand that, yeah.
Okay.
We see really clear differences in work-life balance based on these underlying cultural dimensions. For example, in individualistic cultures like, say, the US or Australia, where personal achievement is really emphasized, workers often pursue promotions even if it means longer hours.
Right, the ladder climbing.
Yeah. In contrast, you look at collectivist societies like Japan or Mexico. They tend to tie work-life balance more to maintaining group loyalty and harmony, sometimes sacrificing individual time for the collective good. And then there's a masculinity versus femininity dimension. Masculine cultures like Japan or Germany often prioritize career advancement, while feminine cultures like the Netherlands or Norway tend to prioritize quality of life and work-life integration more.
And what about how different countries handle uncertainty? Does that play a role in their approach to free time?
Yes, definitely. Through what's called uncertainty avoidance. Countries like France or South Korea, which generally prefer more structure and predictability, often translate this into more rigid working hours. What's fascinating is how these values actually play out in practice. Europe is often seen as a kind of benchmark, right? With nations like Sweden, Denmark, the Netherlands offering shorter work weeks, extensive parental leave. Dutch workers, for instance, average only about 30.3 hours per week.
Wow, 30 hours.
Yeah. And Germany, for example, has its firebend culture. That's a deep-seated tradition of truly switching off after work. Personal and family time is deeply respected, protected from work intrusions, and France even has that right to disconnect law.
The right to disconnect, that sounds like a dream for so many people. But then you look at other parts of the world, and it's just a stark contrast, isn't it?
It really is. In the Asia-Pacific region, countries like Japan and South Korea have these deep-rooted cultures of company loyalty. Historically, that's led to extremely long working hours and, consequently, high rates of burnout. There's often significant pressure just to be seen working in some Asian and Latin American cultures, which makes implementing flexible work policies really challenging, even if they technically exist on paper.
So given these profound cultural differences, what's AI's unique take on this global picture? Is it just mapping the differences or something more?
Well, AI's insight here is that these cultural values are fundamental determinants. Trying to implement universal policy recommendations for optimizing free time is probably unlikely to succeed without truly understanding and addressing these underlying norms. AI could actually model the impact of cultural value shifts on, say, national well-being metrics, helping us design culturally resonant strategies that might actually stick.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, a one-size-fits-all approach just doesn't work, clearly. And speaking of tailored approaches, free time's purpose actually evolves across our entire lifespan, doesn't it? For instance, in childhood, free play is just absolutely critical for adaptability, social success, overall cognitive, physical, social, emotional development. It really helps kids foster imagination, creativity, problem-solving skills.
And what's truly eye-opening here, a really surprising detail from the study, sustain moderate to severe play deprivation during the first 10 years of life is linked to significant long-term negative impacts. We're talking isolation, depression, reduced self-control, difficulties adapting to change. It actively hinders the development of what we call social brains.
Wow, hinders brain development.
Yeah. There's even this burgeoning idea that mandatory mobility, like ensuring ample time for children to move freely, explore their environment, should be considered as urgent and foundational for neuroplastic benefits as like tummy time for infants.
That really underscores how foundational play is to who we become. Seriously. Then, as we move into adulthood, we see more immediate benefits from leisure, right? Like stress relief, improved mood, lower heart rate.
Definitely. And mentally engaging leisure activities are particularly effective at breaking those cycles of rumination, that internal self-perpetuating stress loop, and truly allow us to mentally recharge.
Okay, and this is where the AI analysis apparently had a kind of aha moment.
Exactly. The aha moment that the AI analysis really highlighted is this. The prevailing societal mindset that views leisure time as worthless or unproductive is directly correlated with adverse mental health outcomes. This means decreased happiness, increased depression, anxiety. Think about that.
Just the belief itself is harmful.
Just the belief. We're not just talking about feeling better, but about directly impacting your overall mental well-being simply by changing your perception of free time.
Yeah.
And paradoxically, incorporating dedicated, intentional leisure time can actually significantly boost your productivity. It's a strategic investment, not some kind of luxury add-on.
Okay, that's huge. And then, as we get older, into older adulthood, the motivation shifts again.
It does. As individuals start to perceive their remaining time, there's often a natural focus on emotional meaning, cherished experiences, and engaging in cognitive and creative leisure activities like reading, gardening, playing games, social engagement. These are consistently associated with a reduced incidence of cognitive impairment and dementia.
So it keeps the mind sharp.
Exactly. This all leads to an important conclusion. Free time's purpose and benefits are dynamic across a lifespan. A one-size-fits-all approach is simply insufficient. Interventions have to be developmentally appropriate. The AI-driven framework could potentially develop personalized leisure prescriptions.
Whoa! Personalized leisure prescriptions. That's wild, yet incredibly promising. Okay, let's dive even deeper now into the multidimensional science behind why free time is so essential. Biologically and neurologically, the effects seem profound.
They really are. For physical health, it's linked to improvements in self-reported health, protection against chronic conditions like coronary heart disease, cognitive decline. Physical activity, a common form of leisure, is just crucial for preventing non-communicable diseases. And the projected economic cost globally due to inactivity is, well, staggering. Around $300 billion just between 2020 and 2030.
$300 billion
Yeah.
just from inactivity. Wow.
Yeah. And what's truly fascinating here is the neurological basis of rest itself. Sleep isn't passive. It's an active, critical process for learning and memory consolidation. Sleep deprivation, conversely, significantly impairs cognitive functions. We all know that feeling. And on brain plasticity, the brain's remarkable ability to change lifestyle choices like exercise, adequate sleep, mentally challenging activities. Say, learning a new language during your free time. They significantly enhance neuroplasticity, improving memory and executive function.
Okay, this next part genuinely blows my mind, and I think it will for our listeners too. We're going from daily habits all the way down to our very genes. How exactly do lifestyle factors, specifically leisure, connect to something as fundamental as our genetic expression without actually changing our DNA?
Right. It sounds like science fiction, but it's the field of epigenetics. The mind-blowing fact is that leisure time physical activity can literally influence the rate of biological aging, as measured by what they call epigenetic clocks.
Wait, it affects how fast we age biologically.
Yes, think about that. We're not just talking about feeling better, but about directly impacting how your body ages at a cellular level by literally influencing which genes are turned on or off. This elevates free time from a nice-to-have to a fundamental bioregulator. It's potentially as crucial for longevity and public health as diet and exercise. This makes access to quality free time a serious public health imperative.
So it's literally etched into our biology.
Okay.
Shifting gears slightly to psychological and emotional well-being. The benefits like lower stress, better mood, less rumination, those are fairly well documented. But the AI research uncovered something deeper about our mindset, you said.
Indeed. That belief, again, the belief that leisure is worthless, is directly linked to poor mental health outcomes. But on the positive side, engaging in deeply absorbing activities can lead to eustress. That's a positive, stimulating kind of stress, like the challenge of learning a new skill. And it can lead to a state of flow where you're so immersed that time seems to disappear.
Oh, flow state, yeah.
The key insight here is really understanding the profound psychological cost of hustle culture versus the therapeutic power of intentional leisure. It's a strategic and necessary component for mental health, for creativity, and just for overall well-being.
And beyond the individual, free time has a huge sociological and community impact too, right? It's essential for social bonding, cohesion.
Absolutely. Leisure activities, especially those spent out in nature, they really enhance social and community interactions. They foster connections, mutual caring, resilience. Think about something simple like community gardens, for example. They actively promote social integration and strengthen neighborhood ties.
Okay, but this raises an important, maybe uncomfortable question. Is access to this kind of beneficial leisure equally distributed?
Yeah, that's the tough part. The research clearly shows the answer is no, not at all. Socioeconomic status is a major determinant. Individuals from higher SES backgrounds typically have much greater access. More financial resources, more time flexibility, better access to facilities like private gyms or clubs.
While others don't.
Exactly. Conversely, minority neighborhoods and low-income areas are significantly less likely to have adequate, safe, appealing recreational facilities. This means leisure acts as a social determinant of health and equity. It actually reinforces existing social stratification, so it becomes a critical component of social justice or injustice, depending on how you look at it.
That's a powerful point. It really highlights the real-world impact of how leisure is distributed or not distributed. And this brings us naturally to the deeper philosophical and ethical questions. Beyond just the practical benefits, what does our relationship with free time say about what it means to truly flourish as humans?
Well, from a philosophical standpoint, the discussion of human flourishing, or eudaimonia, goes all the way back to Aristotle. He saw leisure as the domain for personal growth, self-discovery, philosophical reflection, cultivating virtues. He believed leisure was that which is good in itself to do, not just for some other end.
Good in itself.
Yeah. And sport and play, as forms of leisure, are also considered platforms for moral development, teaching things like perseverance, self-control, fairness. They contribute to higher moral reasoning in children, for instance, by navigating inclusion and exclusion in games. So when leisure time is unequally distributed, it raises really significant ethical questions concerning what a fair society looks like. This is often discussed through theories like John Rawls' justice as fairness.
And what about the idea of the free rider problem in this context? How does that fit in?
Yeah, that's the tension that can arise. If some individuals or groups disproportionately enjoy more leisure, without contributing equally to the societal efforts that actually create the possibility for that leisure, like, wealth generation, infrastructure, it can lead to imbalances and feelings of unfairness. So leisure isn't just about personal preference. It can be seen as a measure of a truly just society. Its unequal distribution is a significant ethical challenge, limiting flourishing for many.
We've explored the profound human and societal dimensions, but it's remarkable how even the most abstract sciences, physics, mathematics, logic, offer insights in the very nature of free time. Like, from a physics perspective, how does relaxation actually work in our bodies? It seems so subjective.
It seems subjective, but from a physics perspective, relaxation can be understood as a redistribution of energy, leading to physiological re-equilibration. Think of your heart rate decreasing, lower blood pressure, muscle tension releasing. It's measurable. Even emerging technologies like binaural beats, which use sound frequencies, demonstrate a practical application of physics principles to induce states of relaxation.
Okay, and math. How does math come into leisure time?
Well, powerful computational models are used to analyze and predict how people allocate their leisure time. Things like light GBM or SHAP models, which the AI study utilized. This includes that choice engineering we mentioned earlier, using models to systematically shape behavior, maybe by designing public spaces that subtly encourage walking or social interaction.
And what about the logic, or maybe the illogic, of our choices around leisure?
Right. Our human cognitive biases profoundly influence our leisure choices. We're not always logical. Things like functional fixedness, seeing an object only in its traditional use, can limit our imagination for leisure activities. Or salience biases focusing on what's most obvious or easy might make us pick scrolling on our phone rather than something more fulfilling but requiring a bit more effort.
Guilty as charged
They
sometimes.
all are. We also see learned helplessness in leisure, where individuals who perceive limited control over their time might just stop trying to engage in meaningful activities. But what's fascinating is that despite these biases, free time isn't random or purely subjective. It's quantifiable, predictable, and potentially optimizable through these rigorous scientific methods.
This all leads us then to societal reactions and interventions. Who truly benefits from a healthy relationship with free time, and conversely, who suffers when it's scarce or poor quality?
The beneficiaries are clear, really, across the board. Individuals experience improved physical and mental health, enhanced cognitive function, greater personal growth, even those epigenetic benefits we talked about. Families benefit from increased bonding, stronger relationships. Communities see enhanced social cohesion, resilience. Even economies benefit significantly. You mentioned the U.S. outdoor recreation economy. $1.2 trillion and 5 million jobs in 2023 alone. Society as a whole gains a more resilient, adaptable, and innovative populace.
But on the flip side, there are definite victims of the current system.
Unfortunately, yes, very clear victims. Socioeconomically disadvantaged groups, including racial minorities and caregivers, they disproportionately lack access to quality leisure time and resources. Individuals caught in that relentless hustle culture often suffer from burnout, chronic stress, anxiety, depression. Children deprived of free play face significant long-term developmental disadvantages, including, sadly, increased risky behaviors like substance use or even theft, sometimes just out of boredom or lack of constructive outlets. Public health systems bear a significant economic burden due to inactivity-related illnesses, and even the environment can suffer if our leisure activities aren't conducted sustainably.
It's clear that historical innovations have shaped leisure, from the agricultural revolution creating potential leisure to the industrial revolution formalizing it, sometimes rigidly. Now, looking forward, how can AI uniquely contribute to positive change in our relationship with free time in our modern era, beyond just analyzing it?
AI offers several really unique potential innovations here. It could help create those personalized leisure prescriptions we touched on. Based on an individual's biometric data, lifestyle, maybe even their epigenetic markers, truly tailored recommendations for optimal well-being.
That's pretty futuristic.
It is, but potentially very powerful. AI can also perform societal modeling, simulating policy impacts like what really happens if we implement reduced work hours, how does it affect public health, productivity, local economies, and critically, AI can aid in bias detection and mitigation, helping us identify and maybe overcome those deep-seated cultural norms that unknowingly devalue leisure or distribute it unfairly.
That's a truly powerful application of AI for human flourishing. Okay, so given all these insights from history, culture, biology, AI, what key policy recommendations emerge for society? Where should we be heading?
Well, several things stand out. First, we really need to redefine work-life integration, move beyond just balance, and recognize leisure as a form of human capital essential for productivity and well-being, not just time off. This includes seriously advocating for reduced standard work weeks, like the 4-day workweek trials we're seeing, and things like right to disconnect legislation, like in France, to truly protect personal time from work creep.
Yeah, setting boundaries.
Exactly. Flexible work arrangements are key, and enhanced parental leave is absolutely crucial for alleviating the disproportionate burden often placed on caregivers. And perhaps most importantly, societies must invest in public leisure infrastructure, creating accessible, high-quality parks, community centers, libraries, especially in disadvantaged neighborhoods. This also includes addressing mobility equity for children with disabilities, ensuring they can participate fully in play and recreation.
And beyond policy, what about the necessary educational and cultural shifts? Because laws alone won't change mindsets, right?
Absolutely not. We need something like leisure literacy. Integrating leisure education into school curricula, maybe starting from early childhood, teaching the importance of unstructured play, how to use leisure time purposefully for well-being. We must actively challenge hustle culture through public awareness campaigns, through corporate leadership, setting a different example, reframing leisure as a strategic investment in people, not laziness. And we should actively promote diverse leisure activities, physical, creative, social, nature-based pursuits, getting beyond just screens dominating free time.
That makes sense. Finally, how can we integrate environmental considerations into our leisure habits? Because that's increasingly important.
Yeah, it's crucial. By promoting eco-conscious leisure things like low-impact hiking, responsible tourism, volunteering for conservation projects, we can support sustainable food systems through leisure activities like community gardens or participating in community-supported agriculture, CSAs. And we should encourage integrating circular economy principles into our habits. Thinking about maintenance, reuse, recycling as part of our hobbies, maybe shifting from a take, make, waste model to a more regenerative one, even in our free time.
Okay. So to try and summarize this incredible journey, we've gone deep into the intricate science of free time, revealing it as, well, a truly fundamental human need, integral to our biology, our psychology, our social fabric, even our moral well-being. And the AI-driven insights powerfully show us that our current societal norms often clash pretty dramatically with these intrinsic needs, leading to significant costs, personal and societal.
Exactly. The profound evidence suggests that prioritizing and equitably distributing meaningful free time isn't just, a kind gesture or a nice thing to do. It's actually a strategic investment in public health, in individual flourishing, and in the overall resilience of our society. So maybe the question for everyone listening is, what does your relationship with free time say about your potential for flourishing? And perhaps more importantly, what changes might you consider, even small ones, to ensure your free time is truly free and fulfilling?
That's the perfect place to leave it for reflection. This deep dive really reveals that our relationship with free time is a mirror to our values as individuals and definitely as a society. What stands out to you as the most crucial takeaway from today's discussion? Something to really chew on.
This is DigitView.